All right, today's video has a lot to cover. I'm pulling some information from a variety of sources, including boundingintocomics.com, oneangrygamer.net, the Intellivision main website. All these outlets have had a strong history of good reporting in the past, so I want to give them a shout out for assembling all this. I want to talk about how the return of Earthworm Jim has a lot of feathers ruffled. Some conversation around how it is an Intellivision Amico exclusive, which may be a good thing for the Intellivision. Well, it definitely will be. But I'm concerned as a gamer if I have to buy another console just to play this new Earthworm Jim game. I don't love that. It'd be nice if it was available on PC. But we'll have to see how the Amico shakes out. We'll talk a little bit about that later, because I think there's also another good editorial published today with realistic sales numbers for this Amico and who their target market really is. And they're really people probably in their late 30s, early 40s, who either A, had an Intellivision way back in the day, or B, are fans of retro gaming. So Bounding Into Comics put together this article where Polygon essentially has threatened, a writer at Polygon has threatened to tank the review score of Earthworm Jim because he doesn't like Doug TenNapel. Now, Doug TenNapel is a guy that, well, you know, is the original creator of Earthworm Jim. So that's an interesting thing to say. This writer takes some umbrage with the fact that Doug has some conservative values, and got into a Twitter spat with another trans games journalist, or journalist in quotations. I really like that that's taking off. Either acceptable ways to refer to these people are either quotations journalist, which Bounding Into Comics has taken on, or urinalist, which is, of course, the thing people men pee into in American bathrooms. I'm sure they're in other places. Both are acceptable, but this games journalist has essentially threatened to tank the review score because he doesn't like Doug TenNapel's personal politics. Now, there's a lot going on here. Urinalist Chris Scullion indicated that he does not want Earthworm Jim creator Doug TenNapel involved in the newly announced game. To the excitement of many fans, Intellivision Entertainment CEO Tommy Tallarico. By the way, Tommy, you should reach out to me, dude. Listen to me, Tommy. Talk to your boy. Look behind me. Look at my audience. You need to come on for an interview, and we need to make sure the Intellivision works. You need to take customer feedback because we are your customer. Anyway, the original team consists of Doug TenNapel, David Perry, Mike Dietz, Nick Brudi, and of course Tom Tallarico. The news came as part, I'm sorry if I screw up any of those names, as part of the 25th anniversary celebration of the franchise. Here it is, big news. Over 20 years in the making, Earthworm Jim is back with the entire original team and exclusively on the Intellivision Amico. Live chat with them during our first design meeting this Saturday. Now, the live stream was a little dicey, a lot of boomer moments, but fans are willing to forgive. While most people are excited about the prospect of the return of the well-remembered and beloved franchise, Chris, who had written for Nintendo Magazine, UK, Vice, Nintendo Life, and Polygon, was not pleased that Doug TenNapel would be attached to the new video game. On the actual Facebook announcement, Scullion noted that he would find it hard to support TenNapel, even indicated it would be, quote, trickier for me to review this one if Doug is involved. When Keith Boesky celebrated the return of the team and commented about who didn't love Doug TenNapel, the creator of the Earthworm Jim creator, Chris stepped in and provided his 2 cents. Quite a few people, to be fair. I'm so excited for this game, but I'm going to struggle to support him personally. That's fine. Most of the video games I buy are created by people that I probably wouldn't support personally, but that doesn't matter. When possible, you can obviously separate the art from the artist. I can't always do that. I'm not perfect, but that's what you strive for. You never want to rob yourself of something you can enjoy simply because of somebody's personal politics. You know, I mean, it's easy to skip stuff too, but you don't want to go too far. Now, this goes all the way back to a tweet from 2017 where Heather Alexandria said, "It's your gal, Heather, with an Earthworm Jim take you didn't know you wanted today, but might enjoy." Doug replied, "Heather, you're a good man and entitled to your opinion. If you ever want to go into why we created the way we did in the 90s, let's chat." Now, that didn't go over well because Heather Alexandria is trans. Tommy attempted to keep the conversation from being derailed. He noted that he respects everyone's right to decide whatever the heck they want, no worries. He also noted that whether or not brought Doug on for the game, people would be upset, or whether or not they brought him on. He described it as a no-win situation no matter what, and it's absolutely impossible in this day and age to please everyone. Look, listen to me. Listen. In television, Earthworm Jim crew, if you don't fold and you stand by Doug TenNapel, you will sell orders of magnitude more consoles than you would if you cut him out. I promise you that. Listen to me. All right? Listen to everybody who will be commenting on this video, who will be liking the video. If you screw Doug TenNapel, I will be the first one to make a video telling people that I don't recommend buying your console. All right? Doug is the creator of the franchise. You can't cut him out because a few people didn't like what he said on Twitter. That's absurd. And I would say the same thing about somebody who had like a far left. You can't cut out the original creator. Anyway, he did make it clear that it was the entire team of 10 of us who created the experience that everyone knows and loves, a complete team with no one having more important opinions or visions over anyone else. Making the game with the original team is the only way to keep it truly 100% authentic. Then Chris went on to say, "That might be trickier for me to review this one if Doug is involved. He basically implies that he will give the game a bad review or cover it in negative fashion no matter how good the game is because TenNapel is attached to the game and has different ideas than he does. I totally respect and appreciate that, Tommy. As a journalist, I'm 100% keen to cover the Amico and, in general, review as many of its games as possible, but I hope you appreciate that it may be trickier for me to review this one if Doug is involved. I don't mean any hard feelings and wish you the best with every success with the Amico in general." This is a veiled threat. It's not even that well veiled, but it is absolutely an implication that, look, if Doug's on here, I'm going to tank the review score. I'm going to put a negative connotation around your game coverage. I mean, I dare you, Chris. We'll see, Chris, who has more reach. All right? Listen, if they stay the course, and the thing is, look, the other 9 people on the team don't have to agree with Doug. They can disavow him all they want. They just got to work with the guy. You think I asked, when I was working in a call center with 500 people, do you think I cared what the person next to me's personal politics were? No, we worked together on a team to get the job done. People's personal political beliefs are irrelevant. Chris called Scully out for his implied threat. Nice. Or Chris Sazerac. If your review is biased because of anyone involved, then you shouldn't be a reviewer. Sazerac's words echo the Society of Professional Journalists and their ethics code, which states something that is a Society of Professional Journalists points out in their code of ethics. They state even advocacy or commentary has an obligation to be accurate, and it needs to be identified so the public doesn't confuse it with what should be impartial, accurate approach to the events of the day. Of course, he pointed out, if your review is based because of anyone involved, then you shouldn't be a reviewer. Base your review on the merits of the game, not the people who create it. It's journalism 101. Of course, Chris replies, "With respect, I've been reviewing games professionally for 13 years and never had an issue." Well, you publicly just said that you will. Am I to believe that this is the very first time? Or is it the very first time the mask slipped and you issued a public threat? Whatever he makes, money or not, as a journalist, you report the facts about the game and leave bias at the door. If you can't report on the game without letting your opinion of Doug affect your opinion, then you simply recuse yourself from the entire story. Wouldn't that be easy? That's why exclusivelygames.com is such a great website, in my unbiased opinion. Chris goes on to say, with respect, my friend, I don't know, what's the word for it? Like contempt or I can't think of the right word for it, but with respect, my friend, please stop telling me how to do my job. I'm more than capable of reporting on a game, but not mentioning Doug's conduct would also constitute deliberately withholding information that may influence the reader's decision to buy the game. No. And again, this guy, publicly threatened to tank the review scores. That's my opinion. Do you disagree? I mean, definitely tell me. I mean, it's definitely a threat, I think. And as you dig into it, I don't understand the angle here. I mean, all you're going to do is sell more copies of Earthworm Jim if you screw this up. If you really come out, I mean, this is already going to bring a ton of attention to it. I mean, I may have not covered Earthworm Jim at this juncture, even though Doug is a good dude. And I think Earthworm Jim was one of the only, I owned like 5 or 10 games on the Genesis, and it was one of the only ones I ever had. I mean, it's a great time to be in your mid-30s if you're like me, and it's also a great time if you're younger to experience some of these games. I mean, they just re-released Toe Jam and Earl, Earthworm Jim, Sonic's coming back, and if they do a good job with a lot, I mean, there's a reason Earthworm Jim was popular in the 90s. There's a reason that Sonic the Hedgehog was so wildly popular in the 90s. There's a reason for these things, and if they can recapture that in 2020, 25, 30 years later, I think it will bring a lot of new fans to the franchise. I mean, it's this whole, Earthworm Jim creator attacks transgender writer on Twitter. No, I wouldn't say that was an attack, but 2007. This isn't an attack. Even if Doug does in my opinion, if you want to be trans, you're not hurting anybody, I don't care. If I know you, I'll respect your pronouns. If I make a mistake and I misgender somebody, I'm not going to apologize for it. There are many people that will not do that, and that's their right too. If Doug doesn't want to do that, then cool. Maybe Doug didn't know. Maybe his conservative values or his religion, or he stands with the biological side of it. Of course, cool. Fine. I wouldn't call that an attack. TenNapel is a rare unicorn in today's society who actually has the balls to be honest and stand up for his principles that aren't dictated by the intersectional inquisition. Talarico attempts to find common ground by asking if they would be okay if they would be swanged if TenNapel consulted on the project but wasn't paid for it. This solution didn't sit well with some gamers who preferred that if game journalists can't separate a piece of art, perhaps they shouldn't be covering the game in the first place. Yeah, I don't understand what making money would have anything to do with. I think Doug is fine here. And I'm going to shout out to this. I'm not going to cover it. I'm going to give a shout out, though, to this article here on One Angry Gamer about what the Intellivision Amico needs to accomplish to be successful, because I do believe, I think this is really good. The price is concerning to me at like nearly $200, $179, I think. Yeah, set to launch in 2020 for $179. That's a lot. That's a lot. I mean, that's significantly more than you paid for a Super NES Mini or an NES Mini or even the new Sega Genesis. This is significant money, so it better be good. But they make a lot of good points in here about how, if you look at the numbers, the Earthworm Jim reunion stream today was floating around 150 to 300 viewers on Twitch and YouTube respectively. The Intellivision channel has roughly 3,000 people subscribed to it as far as right now. I don't believe I need to explain why those numbers are abysmal. Their Facebook page is comparatively much better with 15,000 likes, 16,000 followers, but still lowish overall. By the end of all this, Intellivision's efforts will likely result in maybe 1 million Amico consoles sold, if that. Now, I don't know what their actual goals are, but I feel like our community here on YouTube would probably buy 100,000 of them if they do it right. But again, it's $200. I mean, that's 3 AAA games, for the price, it better come with, I mean, it better come with more than just Earthworm Jim, I guess is what I can say. You know, you talk about, there's a lot going on with the Intellivision that I like, but I don't like the idea that they may bend the knee, and that Polygon is so bold to come out and publicly say, look, I'm gonna cover this game negatively if Doug TenNapel's on it. To threaten somebody like that is a new level we have yet to see from these journalists, and it'll be interesting to watch as the Intellivision launches. Are you interested in getting an Intellivision? What do you think about that price point? I'm worried that it's a little high. I mean, $179 is probably the price you'll be buying an original PlayStation 4 at that time, or even the original Nintendo Switch for at that time. So I'd have to learn a lot more about it, but Earthworm Jim exclusive is absolutely a very good start. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you again real soon.